Hi, this is Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com, right back here on WagerTalk TV with your NFL Fade the Public Week 3 edition for this Sunday, September the 24th. I'm going to let you know the most public sides in the NFL for Week 3, and you might want to consider fading them because long-term, fading the public does make you money in the NFL. You know, it works better as we get later into the season, and the public so far is up a couple games on the year. I think it's like 7-5 when you include the additional leans I've given you the last couple weeks, but nothing out of the ordinary. As you know, the public normally plays favorites and they play overs. So most of the public plays again this week are favorites, but we do have one public underdog. Ding, ding, red flag alert. Whenever the public's on a dog, that always catches my attention. I'm going to give that to you here at the end of the video, but there are 5 public favorites I want to get to first. And yes, the public's up a couple games, and boy, are they feeling bold. They're coming out firing this week. Over half the games on the board covered for you. 5 public favorites, the public dog, and also 2 additional leans that just missed the cut. We're just a bit outside as well. So a ton of content coming up here on this free video for you on Wager Talk TV. Hey, do me a favor, give the video a thumbs up, a like if you're finding it useful, and leave me comments below. I do read all the comments and I reply back. I love the support. Let's win together here in Week 3. All right, let's start right off. Only 2 early games. Most of them are late games here, but the public is involved in 2 early games this week, Week 3 on Sunday. And at 1 o'clock Eastern, the public likes the Miami Dolphins. In fact, I'd say this is one of the 2 most public plays of the week. Dolphins getting very heavy consensus reports from support from everywhere I'm looking, and it's not a surprise. Miami looks like a really good offensive team this year. They've put up 60 points in the first 2 games. Not only are they 2-0 straight up, but they're 2-0 against the spread. And if you recall, last Sunday night, the public was on the Dolphins. I mentioned it right here in the video. It's one of the games they did get right, and they cashed. And now they're 2-0 on the season. And in fact, the public has backed the Dolphins quite strongly so far this year, and they're coming out heavy again this week. And the other side of the equation, what makes this such a public play, isn't just that they're backing the Dolphins, but they're fading the Broncos. Denver's not only 0-2 straight up, but 0-2 against the spread as well. And if you recall, in Week 1, the public cashed with the Raiders as a dog. They came right back. An additional lean I mentioned in the video last week was the Commanders. So the public is 2-0 fading Denver this year, and they've also made money back in Miami. So it all adds up to a very public play on the Miami Dolphins at 1 o'clock Eastern on Sunday. All right, the other early daytime game that's getting some good public sentiment on Sunday afternoon at 1 Eastern is the Detroit Lions. A little surprised here because the public is fading the Falcons, who are off to a perfect 2-0 straight-up start. They did fail to cover last week against the Packers. Maybe that's why, but overall, Atlanta off to a solid 2-0 straight-up start. A play-on team for a lot of sharp bettors this year. Their season win total was at 8.5, and they're off to that 2-0 start. Meanwhile, Detroit had that nice underdog win against the Chiefs Thursday Night Football. The extra prep time did not help them last week, though, as they lost outright as a home favorite against the Seahawks. And now they're 1-1 on the season. You know, Detroit was the odds-on favorite to win the division coming in. Season win total of 9.5 was pretty hefty for Detroit. And after that upset win at Kansas City, they kind of stole a game, basically, but then they gave it right back, losing as a favorite last week. We'll see how they bounce back in this one. Atlanta ran the ball extremely well last week against Green Bay, and they ran it quite often. 45 rushing attempts, over 200 rushing yards. We don't see that a lot in the modern NFL. And I think that'll be the key to this game is if Detroit can slow down the Falcons' rush attack. And the Lions have been pretty good against the run so far this season. Held the Chiefs to 90, held the Seahawks to just 82 yards rushing. So it does look like a good matchup on the line of scrimmage there, and the public likes the Detroit Lions on Sunday afternoon. All right, those are your 2 early games at 1 o'clock Eastern. I've got 3 more late afternoon games going after 4 Eastern, and also that ding-ding public underdog of the week coming up in just a moment. But a quick reminder, my official best bets, we don't always fade the public. Sometimes I agree, sometimes I disagree. But my official NFL best bets can be found this weekend at WagerTalk.com. Hitting almost 90% of the NFL the last 2 Sundays and Mondays. Just been a fantastic start to pro football. 5-0 in week 1, 4-1 in week 2 on Sundays and Mondays. So that is 90% to be exact. 9-1 start in the NFL, 90%. Of course, if you're joining us early in the weekend, Friday night into Saturday, don't forget I also have 5 college football best bets for this Saturday on a 12-3, 80% football run over all the last couple weeks. And now if you're a new viewer, new user, you can get a 3-day sampler for just $55 with promo code STEVE3. That's for new users only, a 3-day sampler. But the best value is available to everybody out there, and that's a 1-year all-access special. Look, if you've missed the 9-1, 90% start on Sundays and Mondays in the NFL in weeks 1 and 2, don't sit back any longer and miss all the strong best bets this week 3 on Sunday and Monday. And in fact, you can get it everything, including baseball and basketball, for the next year for just $3 a day. Here's how it works. You're getting an instant $800 discount. It works out to just $99 a month for a full year. That works out to just over $3 a day. It's not only every college and pro football play, but also every college and pro basketball play and baseball the rest of this season into next for just over $3 a day. But you must have promo code SM365. Use it at checkout. Select the 1-year all access. Enter promo code SM365 at checkout. You get over an $800 instant discount. Works out to just $3 a day for all sports for the next year. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. All right, those are the two early games at 1 Eastern. Let's look at the next three games at 4 o'clock Eastern. And the next one on the card goes at 4:05 Eastern, and that is probably the most public play along with the Dolphins this week, and that's the Seattle Seahawks. Very heavy public consensus on the Seahawks, and I think there's a couple reasons. First of all, the public saw them win last week outright against a good Detroit Lions team as a dog on the road, putting up 37 points after just 13 points in week one. And those loyal viewers that have followed me on different shows over the years know I always say be very careful with week one of the NFL. You'll see results that do not correlate to the rest of the season. It's basically week 4 of the preseason. And maybe Seattle is one of those teams. They had a really good offensive team last year under Geno Smith, but they'd gone 1-9 straight up their previous 10 games. But they did snap that with that win against the Lions last week in 37 points, 311 yards passing, all passing offense basically for the Seahawks last week. And they're now taking on a Carolina team that has to travel cross country on a short week after Monday Night Football. They lost at home as a 3-point dog. And keep in mind, the public was on the Saints last week, ended up being a push, and now they're coming right back and fading the Panthers again. So I don't think this is necessarily a play on Seattle. I think it's more of a fade of Carolina for the second week in a row. I would actually lean towards the Panthers here. I don't like the scheduling spot, though. That does concern me a bit, traveling cross country after a Monday night game at home. But Seattle, I think, is somewhat of a phony team. So they were thoroughly outplayed in week 1 by the Rams. And yes, they caught Detroit maybe at the right time last week, all passing offense, though. But overall in the season, they're still averaging just 5.2 yards per play. Their two opponents overall have given up 5.6, and they're giving up 6 yards per play defensively and over 30 points a game still. So if Carolina's offense, which has struggled, is going to get back on track, this would be the week. So I think the Panthers could be worth a look in this game. And obviously the public has inflated this line a bit as well. The look-ahead line was going to be around 4 advanced line, and now it's 5.5. So one of the reasons fading the public does make you money in the long haul is because you usually get line value. And once again, this line opened 4. It's now up to 5.5. That seems to be the case in this game. But once again, Seattle Seahawks, along with the Miami Dolphins, I say are the two most public plays this week in the NFL. All right, the other two games go at 4:25 Eastern on the late Sunday afternoon card. This one, not a surprise. The Dallas Cowboys off to a 2-0 start against what's considered the worst team in the league, the Arizona Cardinals, 0-2. And the public is on the Cowboys in this game as expected. Advanced look-ahead line was 13. It's now 12.5 to 13 out there, so not much movement on that one. And double-digit home dogs in the NFL over the years, decades, were long-term winning plays. Big favorites have fared a little bit better in the NFL in recent years, obviously because there's more scoring now. It's become a pass-heavy league, which enables teams to win by margin, kind of like in college football. Yes, Dallas is 2-0 straight up, and they're 2-0 against the spread. Cardinals are 0-2, but the Cardinals are a surprising 2-0 against the spread. And like I said, they're going to probably be the biggest public fade this entire season. So you will continue to get line value, and that's been exactly the case in both games so far. They lose by 4, but they cover the 7 against Washington. Last week, they blow a huge lead, end up losing by 3, but they cover the 5 against the Giants. So they've lost both games as a single-digit dog, but they've covered because the lines have been inflated, and the public continues to fade them on a weekly basis. And that's the case once again. Hey, look, Dallas is an explosive team, but they do have New England on deck and then San Francisco after that. Maybe they overlook this game. Maybe they stay within the 13 points. The Cardinals get a third straight cover. We'll have to see, but hard to make a case for Arizona on the field other than the fact that you're probably getting inflated point spreads each week. And the public, once again, is fading the Cardinals, even though they've gone 0-2 doing so far this year. They're doing it once again this week. Dallas Cowboys, a public play on Sunday afternoon. All right, the other game at 4:25 Eastern on the late card Sunday here in week 3 is the Kansas City Chiefs. Defending Super Bowl champs have been a very public play over the years. You know, in fact, 3 seasons ago, I started this video in late November in 2020. And what was it? I think we went 33-8, 31-8 down the stretch through the Super Bowl. And a lot of those winners were against the Chiefs because the public was on them every week, and Kansas City did continue to win straight up, but they kept failing to cover inflated lines. And once again, that's why long-term fading the public is an advantage play and something you should use as part of your handicapping arsenal each week. And so far this season, the Chiefs are 1-1 straight up, 1-1 against the spread. And if you recall last week, it was a huge bounce back spot for them because they did lose that Thursday night opener against Detroit. I actually had a best bet on the card for my clients last week, part of that 3-0 Sunday afternoon sweep last week. Kansas City Chiefs -3 made the cut for my clients at WagerTalk.com. And once again, last two Sundays and Mondays now 9-1, 90% in the NFL combined. So we look to keep that going here in week 3. The public will be on the Chiefs this week. They like what they saw, obviously, last week against Jacksonville. And I think it's also a situation, as I've mentioned in some other games this week, it's not always that the public is on one team. It's just that they're not playing the other side. And there's no question that applies to the Chicago Bears. 0-2 straight up, 0-2 against the spread. This looked like maybe the season they could catch up in that division with the Packers being weaker, the Vikings being weaker. But Chicago has no offense, absolutely no offense whatsoever. Justin Fields is starting to look like a failed experiment, a failed high draft pick once again at quarterback. And they can't throw the ball. So the problem is when they get behind in games, they can't catch up. And this is a team that's averaging just 5.4 yards per pass. So yes, Kansas City probably has bigger games on deck. In fact, when the season began, this looked like a huge flat spot for Kansas City. And the reason I say because not only did they have the Thursday night national TV opener against Detroit, the huge game at Jacksonville last week, but they also are at the Jets and the Vikings the next 2 weeks. Of course, that look ahead to the Jets is a little less substantial as it would have been had Aaron Rodgers still been in the lineup. But still, it's a one-game home situation between 3 road games. Normally not a good spot for double-digit favorites. Problem is, can the Bears do anything? Once they get behind, they have absolutely no passing attack, and they do not have any what we call backdoor cover potential for that reason. So it's fully understandable why the public is on Kansas City. And once again, I think it's more that they're just not playing the Bears. By the way, the look-ahead line was 12.5. It's held steady. It's still 12.5, even though Chicago lost and Kansas City won last week. So not a great scheduling spot on the surface, but not sure Chicago can stay within the number regardless with that weak passing attack. So once again, the public is on Kansas City this week at 4:25 Eastern. All right, those are the 5 most public favorites on the daytime card on Sunday. There's one more game that was very public this week, and it's a rare underdog. I'm going to get to that in just a moment for you, and I'm going to let you know what the public dog of the week is. But a quick reminder, if you'd like to get all of my best bets for this Sunday, go to my page right now, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. 9-1 the last 2 weeks on Sunday and Monday combined in the NFL in weeks 1 and 2. To say we're off to a fast start in football would be an understatement. I know many of you have missed out. Shame on you. Hey, look, if you're a new user, you can try a 3-day sampler for $55 with promo code STEVE3, the number 3. That's for new users only. It's a way to try it out for 3 days. But if you've been with me, you've obviously made some serious money this football season. Why not parlay that into a bigger investment and a longer-term investment, which will make you even more money over the next year? You get every college and pro football play, every college and pro basketball play, and every baseball play every day and night for the next 365 days for just over $3 a day. But you must have promo code SM365. Full details are on my page right now, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. All right, I gave you the 5 most public favorites this week. Let's look at the most public underdog of the week, and that goes earlier at 1 o'clock Eastern. It is the Tennessee Titans. And the public is fickle, right? Short-term memories, they jump around. Well, last week, one of the 3 most public plays on this video, and the one that the public got wrong, was the LA Chargers. They faded the Titans last week, and I guess they learned their lesson because now they're backing them. Either that or maybe they got my best bets. I mentioned we had Kansas City last week, part of that 3-0 daytime sweep last Sunday in week 2. Well, the Tennessee Titans were another one of my best bets last week in week 2 as I faded the public. That was one of the situations where I did jump on board and fade the public, and we had a nice outright underdog winner with the Titans at home. And the Browns, meanwhile, went into Pittsburgh, and our Monday night winner, another part of that 9-1 NFL start the last couple of weeks, was on the Pittsburgh Steelers. I thought it was a vast overreaction from Cleveland's blowout win over Cincy, Pittsburgh's blowout loss to San Fran. And so we went 2-0 involving these 2 teams last week with the Titans and fading the Browns. Now the public is fading the Browns after seeing them lose on national TV, and I think the Titans after seeing that strong against the Chargers. But keep in mind, the Chargers are a bit of a flawed team. I'm not going to read too much into that. Cleveland still looks really good defensively this season. They're giving up just 3.9 yards per play after 2 games, but they have no passing attack. 5 yards per pass. They're actually running 5.4 yards per rush for more than they're passing, 5.1 yards per pass. You don't see that much, if at all, in the modern NFL. maybe the Chicago Bears could do it. We talked about them earlier. But Tennessee also challenged to throw the ball. 6.6 yards per pass against teams that have allowed 7.2 overall this year. Both teams have been substantially below average offensively. They both have been decent on defense. So, so normally in a game like this, a low-scoring game, and we have, by the way, seen some sharp money on the under in this one. The look-ahead line a week ago is going to be like 41. It opened 39.5. It's down to 39 in some spots. And the look-ahead 3.5-point Cleveland favorite has held up pretty much online. We'll see if this hovers around 3.5 or if it drops to that key number of 3. I will say this, since the Titans are the most public dog this week, if you like Tennessee, you probably want to lock up the plus 3.5 now. If you do like Cleveland, I would wait till Sunday, as you might find more -3s available out there, as it does look like the public is going to be on Tennessee. And as I said, the public normally plays favorites. So whenever they're on an underdog, it's always something we pay extra attention to. And the Tennessee Titans are definitely the one public underdog this week in week 3. All right, those are the 6 official public plays this week. It's a heavy public card indeed. There were 2 other games that just missed the cut. I want to quickly give those to you. I know a lot of you are doing your own handicapping. I want to have as much information as possible. So I gave you the 6 official public plays, but I would say there's 2 additional leans from my baseball videos. These would be just a bit outside of making the cut. And the public is leaning towards both the Buffalo Bills and the Baltimore Ravens. So once again, the public leaning towards the Bills. A little bit surprising in that one because the not my Washington Commanders are off to a 2-0 straight-up start. And 2-0 home dogs have actually been a pretty good play over the years against the spread. So the public is leaning towards Buffalo. We'll see if the Commanders are a live home dog or not in that game. And then, of course, the other one I mentioned at 1 o'clock Eastern, public is leaning towards the Ravens. And I think it might be that they're just fading the Colts, although the Colts did get it done against a bad Texans team last week. They lost in week 1 to Jacksonville. But Baltimore off to a strong 2-0 straight-up in ATS start. They do look like one of the better teams in the NFL, but tons of injuries this week. So be careful with that game. Check the injury report. Baltimore's got at least 6 or 7 key guys as of Friday on the injured list. But Indianapolis technically hasn't named their starting quarterback yet as we head into the weekend. So can understand why the public is leaning towards the Ravens in that one. And they're also leaning towards the Bills. Those are a couple 1 o'clock Eastern games as well. All right, tons of information. Covered 8 different games. That's half the games on the schedule this week in the NFL in this public week 3 report. Hope you found it useful. And if you did, do me a couple quick favors. Thumbs up, like the video. It goes a long way to keeping the content free here on WagerTalk TV. Also, if you hit subscribe, that helps out tremendously if you haven't already done so. And don't forget to hit that bell. You'll get an instant alert when these NFL Fade the Public videos go live every week. And don't forget also, if you're joining us earlier in the weekend on Saturday still, or Friday night, my college football top 25 videos available. 6 college football top 25 matchups analyzed for free here on WagerTalk TV. And finally, most importantly, leave me comments below. I love the comments. I read all of them and I reply back. Let me know where you agree or disagree with the public. Hey, let's talk some 6-point teasers. I think there's some good teaser plays out there this week. Some low-scoring games where we can cover those key margins. And player props. I don't talk a lot of player props, but I know many of you do quite well with them. Let's win together. Throw out your teasers, your player props, all the best bets you like here in week 3 in the comments below. And let's win together here on WagerTalk TV. And a quick reminder, if you want my official best bets, same games that have gone 9-1 the past 2 weekends in the NFL in weeks 1 and 2. Let's win in week 3 once again. My best bets for Sunday are available on my page, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. If you're a new user, you can try a 3-day sampler for $55 with promo code Steve3, the number 3, Steve3. But the best deal for everyone is that all-year, 1-year all-access special for just over $3 a day with promo code SM365. Full details are on my page right now. How to use the promo code, the full details, once again, on my page, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. Get there quicker with shortcut WT.buzz/SM. You can follow me on Twitter as well for free information and free plays at Steve Merril on Twitter. That's 2 R's, 1 L, at Steve Merril, MERRIL, at Steve Merril on Twitter. And be sure to tune in all week long here on WagerTalk TV. I do a bunch of solo college football previews and NFL previews on Monday and Tuesday. They're up all week, and they're still here on the channel as well. Let's win together. Best of luck this Sunday and Monday, and I'll talk to you again soon right here on WagerTalk TV.